The Blue Angels are the oldest flight team in existence. Formed in 1946, their mission has been to bring naval aviation home to crowds, both young and old.
General Ehrnrod is a retired four-star general and an authentic war hero from the Second World War.
Every one of us feel pretty lucky to be here, I think. If you go back in the history of the team, there hasn't been all that many guys fly for the Blue Angels, relatively speaking.
Does he want to hug you? Oh,
yeah.
It's amazing. Once you're a Blue Angel, you're always a Blue Angel, and you're carrying the legacy for everybody else that has flown. So there's a certain amount of pride that goes along with your flying.
Right after World War II, naval aviation had played such a big part in the war, especially the war in the Pacific, that the powers that be in the Navy wanted the American public not to forget about naval aviation. So a team was created to bring the message of naval aviation to America's doorstep. And the first team leader was a gent named Lieutenant Commander Butch Forrest, who went on to be a Navy captain. He was designated the team leader, and I think he was about 26, 27 years old, fresh out of World War II, a war hero. And he was selected to lead the team and went on the road with it, and that was the beginning of the Blue Angels.
When the direction came down from Washington to start this team, I happened to be, well, there's good fortune in the right place and with the right background to be called. I was a fresh-caught lieutenant commander, and I was 25 years old. I was selected. I was a bachelor and had done acrobatic flying. It was kind of one of the things I enjoyed doing. Being a fighter pilot, you better be comfortable upside down, right side up, low to the ground, high to the ground. What do you have for qualifications? I fit in the airplane, knew how to fly, and was able to devote 100% of my time to it, since I didn't have to go home and take kiddies to the doctor and do things like that. So also established, and I did this, established the requirement that everybody on the team be a bachelor. So we had all be in stepping and marching to the same tune. So the Navy, in the Secretary of the Navy's office, and of course in concert with the Chief of Naval Operations, decided that we will form a Navy flight exhibition team. We were formed in the training command purposely to provide an incentive for the young cadets coming up through to say, here's what you will eventually be doing this type of flying. The idea was bring fighter aviation down, since we were fighters, that normally takes place well up in the sky and not in close view of the average public, general public, bring it down to where they can see it. Unfortunately, I had served, with a lot of wonderful pilots, and I was able to pick my people. And that made it easier, because we were under almost emergency orders to get this thing in the air. The instructions that I got, and are the kind you like if you're assigned to do something, is go do it, tell me when you've done it and you're ready. And of course, Washington realized it was sensitive, and they also knew that we could be in the headlines tomorrow if we had a bad accident or something went wrong. And we started with 3 planes. That's because of the big propellers. You get a 4th plane in that slot with that big meat eater back there, and it's a little hard to manage and do what I thought we wanted to do.
So Butch and his team went at it, trying everything under the sun. After a lot of trial and error, they put together a show. Calling out the top brass at the Jacksonville Air Station, Butch and the boys prepared to show the Admiral what they had come up with.
He says, okay, I'm ready if you're ready. So we went at it. Not a word was said. I mean, swish, swish, swish. Pulled up, got out of our planes, and went over to the corner of the hangar, and he's shaking his, you crazy son of bitches. You're gonna kill yourself, you're gonna kill you. But it's a great show.
As Butch and his team began performing at more and more air shows throughout the country, people loved them, and it dawned on them. They needed a name.
I guess we'd been on the road not more than about a month, maybe something like that, when we said, we've got to come up with a name here and come up with it shortly. And so we ran a contest in the training command, which encompasses a number of bases and quite a big population, and with a monetary payment and the pride of having come up with a name. And boy, the names started coming in. And Sky Dancers, Navy Blue Lancers, but we didn't get a name that we liked. I remember sitting in the room there with my number 2 man, Morris Wickendall, Wick Wickendall, and he was going through the New Yorker magazine, goings on about town in the front part of it, and it lists the night spots and entertainment and the dining spots, and he says, "Boss, I got it, I've got it, I've got it." And I said, "What is it?" He says, "Blue Angels." He says, "Here's a Blue Angel nightclub." And it was absolutely, hands down, that's it.
The only time the Blues disbanded was during the Korean War, when the Navy found itself short of qualified combat pilots. So the team was taken and established as the nucleus for a new jet fighter squadron, VF-191, Satan's Kittens. This squadron would go on to be one of the most effective and highly decorated over the Korean Peninsula. After the war, the Blue Angels were reactivated, by this time enlisting both bachelors and married pilots, and you'll never guess who got the call.
I was called back to lead the team again in jets. And I remember it was Admiral Bringle saying, "You know, Butch, we're working on the formation of the team, and we think you should do it for us. Do it again." And I shook hands with Admiral Bringle and said, "I'll do it, sir." For our time, it was the best there was, and for their time, it is the best that there is. And I would suggest that 10 years from now, it's going to be the best for that period of time in the future. You feel a tremendous sense of pride. You know, this is my family. You get older, you say, this is the family that I started anyway, and yeah, it's there. I guess it's just a normal feeling. I'm so proud of him.
I can see why he was so successful with implementing the team and then setting a good foundation for the years to come.
You're the father of the team, so to speak.
Yeah.
That guy's got such a gleam in his eye, even now. You know, you can see how inspirational he is. I hang on every word he says. He's just an awesome guy.
The Blue Angels are famous for their precision flying and blazing speed. Everyone who sees the show watches the maneuvers in awe. What they don't see is the way it works. During the demonstration, the team will fly in 2 elements. The Diamond, which is composed of jets 1 through 4, and the Solos, jets 5 and 6. In the Diamond, the number 1 jet is the flight lead. Numbers 2 and 3, the right and left wingman, and the number 4 jet flies in the slot position. Jets 5 and 6 are referred to as the lead and opposing solos, respectively. When all 6 jets come together, they become the Delta formation. The traditional Blue Angel diamond formation is designed to demonstrate the graceful, extremely close formation flying that they have become famous for.
When we're flying in the Diamond, we all serve to check and balance each other in some respect, although my primary check and balance is the slot pilot, the number 4 guy. He's looking through me at the upcoming ground, if it's a vertical maneuver, or at checkpoints, and he also sees the 2 wingmen, the number 2 and number 3 guy on my right and left side, and he can tell when they're in position or possibly out of position.
Take it in!
He's kind of the check and balance for the formation. He's the training officer of the Diamond formation.
With Larry and Doug and the boss and myself, it's fun to sit back in the back as a slot and watch those guys fly, and I know what they're going to do every time.
Go! Yeah! Good job.
The left wingman in the Diamond's main concern is to balance the formation. The right wingman, number 2, will set the formation distance, depth, and the look that we want. And then it's up to the left wingman. In my case, it's up to me to balance the formation and make it look symmetrical. That's primarily what the left wingman's job is.
Okay.
Mine is to put the maneuvers where they belong and fly the profile. Every maneuver has a profile, and fly that profile as consistently as possible. So we practice it until we get it where we want the profile to be, and then it's incumbent upon me to fly that profile the same way every time, or pretty close. It never is the same way, but as close as I can get it. And what that does is it gives the wingman and the slot pilot expectations. So they know what's going to happen each second, and that allows them to stay very nice and tight and close in the formation.
What we put out is about 36 inches, which is a little bit closer than your feet are to your head when you're sitting down, usually. So we tuck it in pretty tight. What that 36 inches is from your canopy to the other guy's wingtip above your head. In fact, when we're in formation flying around, the air off our airplane actually pushes the boss's or number one airplane around a little bit.
Everything is preceded with a voice call. If I say coming right, they know that on the R in right that the controls are going to start to move. So they know that they will start moving their airplane when they hear the command. They won't wait till they see my airplane move. If they wait till they see the airplane move, then you get a ripple effect. But if they move their airplane on my verbal command, on my cadence, it's actually not on the R itself, but it's on a cadence coming right movement. So they know that the airplane is going to move, and they can start moving their airplane before they actually see it. And that's what makes the formation look like a single unit, all moving together.
The solos, Jets 5 and 6, demonstrate the high-energy, maximum performance capabilities of the F-18 Hornet.
The key to a good solo program is to have that bond.
And it's a completely different type of flying than what the Diamond does.
The way we fly, the closeness and the close rate, we fly at, we're going a mile every 9 seconds, or a closure rate of a mile every 4.5 seconds. So that's almost 1,000 miles per hour. Things happen very rapidly.
We have a way to do the maneuvers, however, to perfect the maneuver and have a really good one, it's just something between the two guys that has to click. And there's no way you could train to that, it just happens.
And that builds that closeness to where he knows what I'm thinking, I know what he's thinking. In fact, sometimes we're maneuvering the jets and we don't even need to talk because we know what the other guy's going to do with the airplane, and that's important.
The closest the solos get comes during a maneuver called the knife edge, where they can pass as close as 25 feet from each other.
If you didn't have that kind of bond, there's no way you'd ever be able to have any kind of program at all. When we do opposing maneuvers, we'll both roll, say, opposing four-pointer. We're rolling the airplane and stopping at each 90 degrees. Well, each one of those 90 degrees of roll, we have to stop exactly at the same time and then roll into the next one, based on a call over the radio.
Ken is my opposer. We can approach each other at 1,000 miles per hour closure within a wingspan. He goes by so close sometimes that I feel a thump as the airflow changes and you can hear the engines go by. Yet, because of the contract and the trust and the bond that we have, it's not dangerous. It's just unforgiving. There's no small mistakes up there.
The most difficult maneuver, I think, for the solos would be our tuck-over roll. We'll start right of the crowd. John and I would be in real close formation, inverted at about 100 to 150 feet off the ground, traveling about 450 miles an hour. Just prior to the center of the crowd, John would make a call. He'd say, ready, hit it. And we'd both start a left-hand roll, maximum stick deflection roll, and to roll out with a little bit of a climb. But during this roll, we never see each other. So we're real close, and we're flying a blind roll. This is very critical because if someone were not to roll, or if one of us had a problem in the roll, the other guy would never know it until we hit. Everything we do in flying the show is all
done visually. through checkpoints and timing.
Throughout the city, we find checkpoints that say a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles.
Even though the F-18 is one of the most state-of-the-art airplanes in the world with high-speed computers, we fly the air show strictly by eyeballs and a little stopwatch.
But it's not even digital, sweep secondhand.
How can you be so exact?
Practice.
Between the solo pilots, it's extremely critical that they be real tight. And in the case of John and I, we would do everything together. I mean, we live in the hotel 2 rooms apart, and we get up together.
We work out together every day. We go running.
We go get breakfast together. We drive into work together, then we brief, we fly together.
We eat dinner together.
Whenever we go out socially, normally we'll go together.
We try to do everything together.
The solo program, it's all timing. A timing that you can't force upon someone. You have to kind of get it by being so close with that person like you are with a real close friend or like a husband would be with his wife.
So it's a very close bond between the 2 guys. I'm closer to Thumper in thinking. He knows me better, and I know him better than anybody else.
For the pilots, every air show is more than just 45 minutes of spectacular flying. It's also devotion to safety and an eye for detail. Before each and every flight, the team meets behind closed doors for a sort of ritual that might seem a little strange to the uninitiated. Although it sometimes might resemble a seance, the pilots know that this pre-flight briefing demands just as much concentration as the flight itself.
The briefing process is critical as well. I have a spiel, I call it, of verbiage, and all the other guys have things they need to say during the flight as well. But in the briefing process, we'll cover some administrative details, some safety details, some aircraft limitations that we like to review every time we brief, limitations and emergency procedures. We review them every time we brief. And then we get into the meat of it as far as what's going to happen out there. And it's about a 10 or 15 minute recitation of what I'm going to be saying in the air.
And you go through each maneuver, and if you notice the boss, when we're all together, he would talk some maneuvers just in their name, and then he would go through certain calls.
But it's a recitation of the words so that each pilot can hear those words. So, for example, I'll say, okay, we're parked in reverse order for a remote reverse walk down. Crank them up on 8, 9, and 18, takeoff checks and the chocks. There'll be a left 90 out of the chocks and go wing when clear of parking. We'll take the runway for the covered wagon. When Goose is ready to go 16 com 2, we'll go 16 com 2. We'll be clear for takeoff with a wind check. Check the parking brakes off. Maneuvers for the diamond, a diamond burner loop with a right turn out. Followed by Gucci's dirty roll on takeoff. And Thumper's low transition, high performance climb to the split S. And while I'm saying those things, those are what they're going to hear on the radio. Some of the guys will close their eyes and they'll visualize what they're, and some of them move their hands a little bit. They'll visualize what they're going to be seeing out there while that's occurring. It's like going out and warming up before you know, if you're a pitcher, warming up your arm a little bit, but they warm up their minds.
Everybody is very attuned to the boss and what he's saying, and he makes those calls in the brief just like he'd make them in the flight.
Although the boss speaks a little faster, the rhythm and timing lapse between his calls is proportional, so the pilots get the same sense of timing in the brief as they will once they're in the air.
Now, burners ready now. Power is set. Gear, a little drive. Up we go, a little more pull. Burners ready now. Easing the pull, easing power. Easing more power. Stand by the boards, boards. Commas up, pull. Smoke off. Coming right. Wings are level. Smoke on. Up.
Wing out. A little more. Adding
Power. Easing the pull. Easing power.
more power. Stand by the bars, bars.
It is almost a church-going atmosphere in there. It's very quiet.
Easing power, easing more power. Commas, pull. Easing the pull, rolling out. Coming left, a little pull.
Aerial photographs of the show site help pilots complete the visualization process.
I've flown the air show before I ever go out there. I fly it in my mind. I know what my 3-mile checkpoint is. I know what my 2-mile checkpoint is. I know where I expect to see Thumper. I know what the next maneuver is, and I actually move my wrist and can fly the show. It's good concentration. It's what you need because you get focused. Then you go out there and you just have to do it.
Ready, hit it. Contact.
After every flight, the team also goes through a critical debriefing process, which they consider as important as the actual flight itself. They hash out what worked, what didn't, and no punches are pulled.
We are wide open as we can possibly be to criticisms, and we want to become our own worst critics.
We debrief everything. I'll tell you how specific it gets. We even debrief the march to our airplanes and the march back. So, and you get picked on for every little thing. And most of us haven't marched in 10 years of being in the Navy, so they get very, very specific.
The debriefing process takes probably twice as long as the flight took itself. Rank doesn't come into play, experience levels, those are good, but you have to set those aside when the criticism starts to come, because that's the only way you're going to learn the maneuver, and that's the only way you're going to get to where the maneuver looks good and it's safe.
I think I was a little bit late dropping you guys off, so we're a little low going over the crowd. But other than that, smooth air was nice. It was a little bumpy in the spots, but glad we went flying. Glad to be here. Fudge.
Sure, boss, I'm glad we went flying too. Turned out nice. And I had a couple safeties on the left echelon flat pass. Coming over, I didn't acknowledge the go diamond call. Just concentrating on where I was going and how quick my movement was going to be. Then I was 20 feet low on the low brake cross, 280 feet, and I can fix all those things. So glad to be here.
All these things are called safeties, or things that were safety problems or violations from our standards.
Had safety coming back in. For some reason, I thought we were going right 45s to park. And then I even called turning left when we were turning right. So it went pretty good for me up until we got there. I was just happy to be here and glad to be here.
We have a term that we use, glad to be here. And the term is, I'm Pat Rainey, an average pilot, literally. And I'm, no kidding, just lucky enough to be in the Blues. And that's where that term comes from, to the boss, hey, I'm glad to be here. Because there's guys out in the Mediterranean Sea tonight, out in the Persian Gulf, landing on a ship at night, taking care of us. And so I kind of carry a little bit of the fleet with me, so guys can walk around and say, hey, look, it's the Blue Angels, they represent us.
We have really good tapes, videotapes that we look at, and the tape can be stopped, it can be reversed, slowed, played back, and we do a lot of that, and that's how we get toward the levels of performance that we want. We have 2 critiquers on the ground that look at the maneuvers and tell us their impressions basically from where the maneuvers were placed and how it looked to them.
You guys did a good job, but that placement looked really well today for the conditions. Glad to be here, boss.
Get a nice one-plane look before center point, and then OK smoke off.
When we make these mistakes and we fess up to them, and we do it every time we fly, it's just an extremely important aspect of what we do. What we do after we've said it is, I made this mistake and I'll fix it. You always say that you're going to fix it. And what that leaves the rest of us with the feeling is that you've recognized your mistake and you're going to take corrective action not to let it happen again. So it doesn't drop our confidence level in another person in the formation.
If you don't take it seriously and don't debrief, if you ever get complacent, you're going to kill yourself or you're going to kill somebody else. Now, you got to be able to learn each and every time you go flying, because there's never been the perfect flight demonstration yet that the Blues have ever put on, so we're always looking to perfect it.
All that preparation continues to pay off, and the team wanted to be at their best for the upcoming tour of Europe. The Blues may never fly the perfect air show, but it sure is fun watching them try.